Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Pain to Champagne podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I am your host, Arianna. This is a space where we celebrate trials, tribulations, growth, testimony. Speaking of growth and testimony, I don't know if it's just the season that we're in right now, but I feel like life is 110% lifing right now. I feel like it's not just me, like, everybody seems to be going through something around this time of year. Like I said, I don't know if it's a season, I don't know if it's just the holidays, but I feel like everyone has their own like commotion and chaos going on right now. I hope you guys are enjoying prepping for the holidays to the best of your ability. I know this can be a very hectic time of year for people. I know this can be a very trying time of year for people, but I hope you guys are making the best of it. I hope you are, preparing to celebrate with your family and make more memories and, just celebrate life and be happy. We're about to close another 365 days on earth. So, with that being said, I just think we all just need to take a minute and just be grateful that we're still here. You made it through another year. You're strong. You're persevering. You got this. With that being said, getting straight into it, I kind of just want to talk about the idea of trying. The idea of trying, the idea of making effort, the idea that it is okay to be seen trying. This is such a loaded topic for me. I really want to get into, societal expectations. I want to get into false realities, false perceptions. When it comes to societal expectations, as times have changed, people have kind of created these new scenarios and new narratives and new kind of guidelines for people to live by. Essentially, everybody views life as us having a certain pace. There's a certain pace that society deems is appropriate for, like, whether it be your age, whether it be your demographic, where you come from. Everybody likes to put each other in boxes. I think social media has amplified this false reality that everybody's living in. And I think for me, more recently, I realized that you can literally and truly be whoever you want to be on the internet. You can be whoever you want to be. You can fake whatever funk. You can have as much money as you want to make it seem you have. You can literally be an entirely different person on the internet, and there's going to be people out there that will truly and genuinely believe you. I think that's such a powerful tool to be able to change somebody's perspective of you without even being in their presence and without even speaking to them directly, without even essentially using your words to convince them. The internet is such a powerful tool and it creates so much influence. It has this weird way of warping reality and allowing you to create the space that you want to be in. With that being said, I kind of just want to share my perspective a little bit. I'm 24 years old. I like to say I work a decent job. I live on my own. I drive, a pretty nice car. I think, in my opinion, I don't live a perfect life. I'm not extremely wealthy. But at the end of the day, ends are being met and bills are being paid. And I don't live a life where I have to struggle, really. With that being said, I'm so grateful for that. However, at some point, I feel like we have all been in a space where we feel like the things we have, the person that we are, what we give off to others is not enough. I feel like we've all felt pressure to conform to whatever narratives and to whatever social constructs that people have created over time through social media and in real life. If you think about the American dream, like, everybody wants to be a homeowner, everybody wants to raise a family, everybody wants to be extremely wealthy. And in our eyes, you have to hit these certain accolades at a certain age and at a certain time, or else, to some people, to most people that conform to social constructs, are going to think that you are not progressing at the rate that you should be, or you are not hitting the certain accolades that you should be hitting at your age. Now, listen, in my opinion, success is subjective. Everybody has different dreams, everybody has different goals, different aspirations. Everyone has a different definition of success. And every time you choose a societal construct or a trend or something that somebody else has lined up for you or something that society has deemed successful, Every time you choose that over your own happiness and your own definition, you automatically lose. Regardless of how much money you have, regardless of the things that you have, regardless of the way people view you, if you are choosing a narrative that is created by society over the narrative that you want to create for yourself, you are losing every single time. I feel like to everybody, you should have an apartment or a house at a certain age. If your situation is structured to where you either can't move out for financial reasons, maybe you're taking care of a family member, maybe it's just not in your desire, maybe your parents don't care, maybe your parents want you in the house, then that is perfectly fine. But that right there is a prime example. Everybody's situation looks different. You do not need to move out of your parents' house if it is not necessary. And I will be the first to tell you, if I absolutely could, and if it didn't impact my mentality the way I know it would, and if it didn't impact my sanity the way I know it would, I would have stayed in my parents' home because, truth be told, it's so expensive to live these days. You are probably better off living at home with your parents than you are out in the real world by yourself because, truthfully, if you do not have a good paying job, it is going to be extremely hard for you to make ends meet out here. There's certain expectations that you need to meet in order to be deemed successful. Like I said, living on your own, having the perfect relationship, being the perfect person, having money, having nice things, all of these can ultimately just impact your behavior and your decision making. And essentially, in my opinion, it seems as if we've all been living to just please other people, to just appeal to other people, to make ourselves look good. Seeing all of these influencers and rappers, social media gurus on the internet living these grandiose millionaire lifestyles, it can inspire you, but to a certain point, and we've all been there. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a lash tech, a rapper, an entrepreneur of any sort. You have felt like the things you are doing are not good enough at some point. Seeing all of these social media gurus and everybody on the internet living these crazy, outgoing, rich, millionaire lifestyles has made you feel like maybe you're doing something wrong. Everybody has felt that way at some point. And I think ultimately that feeling of, feeling like what you're doing is not good enough can alter your behavior and your expectations and can ultimately lead you to making decisions and doing things that aren't actually going to make you happy. We all feel this pressure to conform and this pressure to kind of fit into, this society that we live in these days. This pressure to kind of live this lifestyle that, other people on the internet are living. We've forgotten so much about the lives that we want and what truly makes us happy. We're so busy chasing that fast paced life and notoriety and fame that we forget that it is perfectly fine to work a regular job, live in a nice small apartment, big house, whatever you choose, and raise your family and just be normal. It is okay to not be a celebrity. It is okay to be a normal person. And I think the way society is set up and the way social media is set up, it's so hard to not try to fit yourself into that box. Diving into social media, I really want to talk about self perception. I think that if you sit and really think about it, I know so many people that base their value off of the way they're perceived and the attention and engagement that they get through the internet. I know girls that have, and at a point I have, posted pictures and felt like I didn't get enough likes, so I immediately take the picture down. It was a beautiful picture, you know. I thought I looked great in it, but because I didn't get the engagement that I wanted, I'm now taking my content back because I don't feel like it was good enough because it didn't get the attention that I wanted. I think that played into a big role as to why Instagram added in the high likes feature, because ultimately people get so wrapped up and fixated on the numbers that they completely forget, like, hey, I shared this picture because I thought it was creative. I thought it was nice. It doesn't matter who likes or comments under the picture, shares the picture, reposts the picture. This is something that I wanted. This is my story in pictures. It's so easy to get so wrapped up in your engagement through the internet. There's so many people out here on stories and in posts pretending to be somebody that they're not. There's so many people out here that are faking and not realizing that there are people out here that know them, that know the real them, that were around them in social settings where they were extremely awkward or extremely rude to somebody. But this person is on the internet posting as if they are extremely godly and the kindest person in the world. There are people that struggle with deep rooted insecurity and deep rooted selfishness, but are on the internet pretending to be people that, are full of love and light when in reality they've tore people down behind closed doors. There are people on the internet that are struggling to pay their bills, struggling to make ends meet, but they're on the internet posting as if they make six figures, live in the nicest house, drive the fastest cars, bag the prettiest girls. And it's truly sad because I learned recently that you can post something on the internet and people will 100% believe you. A few weeks ago, I purchased a new vehicle. I had a situation happen to me, very inconvenient. Maybe one day I'll talk about it on the pod. I ended up buying a new car. I was in the dealership with my mom going to pick up the vehicle. I took a picture of one of the cars in the showroom. Beautiful car. It had a big red ribbon on it. So nice. And like a space gray. It was a BMW. I posted it to my story just thinking that, people would, see the nice car. It's a nice car. The amount of likes and the amount of people that slid up and congratulated me on this beautiful car that was obviously well over $80,000, had a big red ribbon on it, was in the BMW showroom congratulating me. And like I understand like it's not something that's extremely far-fetched, but what it comes down to is like I'm a regular girl. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. I'm a regular girl. I work a regular job. And I don't make six figures. Like there's just no logical way or reason why I would ever buy a car like that. For one, I'm not to that point in my life yet to where I can, ball out and buy an $80,000 car, nor would I ever get a loan for an $80,000 car because for all that, I should be living in a house. The amount of feedback from people that I got thinking that I purchased that vehicle was absolutely insane to me. And that's the moment when it hit me like, hey, you can really pretend to be whoever you want on this internet and people will really believe you. The fact that you can put on this huge facade and just completely disassociate from the person that you really are is absolutely insane to me. And I think it's so easy to get lost in that. It's so easy to get on the internet and feed people false narratives and get so wrapped up in the feedback and so wrapped up in them believing you and them, affirming to you without really knowing you and taking that into consideration and now molding that into being your character, even though like in real life that's not how people actually perceive you. Think about that and then think about how easy it is to get sucked into that and to actually lose yourself in that process. This lifestyle of everything being flashy and everything being about self is what helped create all of these constructs. I think we're in an era now where oversharing is a trend, where showing your personal life, showing your personal items, showing your finances is all normal now. It's super sad to kind of just watch everybody compete and be in competition with each other when in reality we all relate deep down. Recently, I've been helping people work on their credit. If anybody's going to be transparent, I'm going to be transparent. A few years back, I did not have the greatest credit. I made some dumb decisions when I was younger. And it forced me to have to rebuild my credit. Throughout that process, I learned a couple tips and tricks. I learned about some of the laws and some of the codes that are out there and how to essentially rebuild your credit. Recently, I've been helping friends and loved ones build their credit. It's honorable that they trust me enough to like dive into their finances and really look at things. But ultimately, I found myself helping people who like on the internet, I would never assume that this person has such a low credit score, but in reality, this person is in the dumps as far as credit goes. Like, on the internet, they're looked at as somebody wealthy that dresses very nicely, drives very nice cars, has very nice things. But in reality, this person couldn't get a loan in their name if they begged a bank. That was another light bulb moment for me. Like, wow, people really just put on this front and this mask for the internet and make it seem like they're people that they are not. This idea of you having to wear chains and drive fast cars to determine your wealth, to determine your value, to dictate whether you have true talent or not, because if you're not making six figures off of your creativity, then you must not really be talented. This idea and these thoughts are the things that have ultimately set these standards for society, that have ultimately made people think that the things that they're doing, the regular achievements, every win, big or small, is a win. But these are the things that make people think that their regular achievements are not enough. It's so important to me to embrace your individuality and to embrace your imperfections. I've said on the pod before, your success rate and your success story is not going to look like everybody else's. It's so important for you to remember that it is okay to not live that perfect lifestyle. It is okay to have flaws in your character. It is okay to not make the most money. It is okay to not be the most popular. It's okay to not be famous. It's okay to not go viral. It's okay to not know how to edit a content video. It's okay to want to do music but not truly be gifted at that. It's okay. It's so important to be authentic, and it's so important to embrace those imperfections that you have. Ultimately, nobody will gravitate towards you if they can't relate to you. If they feel like your story and the things that you're putting out are not relatable, nobody is ever going to come buy into the things you have going on. There's so much beauty in vulnerability and not being perfect. There's so much beauty in you being able to say that you adhered so much adversity and you've been able to overcome it and become a better version of yourself. Only certain people can really make it through fire and come out a better person. It's so admirable to be able to say, like, yeah, I've been through like some of the worst things that could happen to a person, or I've been through some super traumatic experiences, but I've been able to come out of that and be a better person because of it. There's beauty in that. There's beauty in being able to talk about the dark spaces that you've been in, talk about the people that have hurt you, the shady things that you've done to people, and to just say, like, yeah, I've been through this. I've done things to people, but ultimately I've learned from them and I'm a different person now. Imperfections is what draws people in. The fact that you're relatable, the fact that you know my struggle, you really have no idea how much your story could impact somebody. You really have no idea how much your vulnerability and your imperfections can truly touch somebody's heart and change somebody's life. I think ultimately we all struggle with this fear of failure. When it comes to failure, that also is subjective. We've all conformed to that idea of competition. We've all conformed to that idea of, if I'm not hitting this accolade by this time, I've failed. Not everybody is meant to go through the same trials and tribulations. Everybody's story looks different. Everybody's tests look different. There's such a stigma around, being looked at as vulnerable. Maybe I'm just not into flashy things. Maybe I'm just not into living in a mansion. Maybe I'm just not into having 5, 6 cars in my garage. Maybe I just want to live a regular life. You're viewed as somebody that's not of value because you don't desire to be known by everybody. A lot of you wouldn't even know what to do if you had the attention that you're looking for. That's a different topic for another time. But a lot of you would not know what to do if you were given the platform that you are desiring, because you are not the person that you need to be to receive that blessing yet. Different topic for a different pod. However, I encourage everybody listening to shift their perspective on setbacks and turn them all into learning experiences. Just because you are not at a certain point in your life for your age does not mean that you are behind. It means that your story simply looks different. If you have faith and if you have some sort of belief, you would not let setbacks deter you from, one, knowing your value, and from two, achieving your goal at your own pace. I've been in a lot of leadership roles in my early 20s. My regular 9 to 5 jobs, I can say at this point, I've been in more management positions than I have at entry level. Something that I've learned, had I had not started off in an entry level position, had I had not started off at the bottom of the food chain, I would not know how to relate to people. I wouldn't know how to empathize. I wouldn't know how to step outside of my role and kind of just see things for what it is for my team. There is so much power in trying and learning and growing. You will never figure out the recipe and you will never figure out how to get where you want to go if you do not try. If you don't try different methods, if you don't see what works and see what doesn't work and apply it, you will never know what it takes to get there. There's so much value in effort. There's so much value in knowing that you've achieved something and put so much of yourself into your craft. Ultimately, your story and your trials and tribulations are what lead to a meaningful development and a testimony. Sometimes you didn't get things at a certain time because you were not ready for it, one, or two, you need to go through this. That way, the person that you come across next can learn from the things that you've been through. Sometimes you aren't even going through these trials for yourself. Sometimes you're about to meet somebody that is going through the same thing as you, that is going to want your mentorship, that is going to want your help leading them to the path to success. I remember way back when I had gotten a promotion that was moving me completely out of state from where I was at the time. I was so fearful of it. I was afraid. I was angry. This is not a place I wanted to move. This is not a place I wanted to settle down. I called my mom bawling, crying, like, Mom, I do not want to make this move. I do not want to go there. I never intended on living there. I don't think I'll be happy there. And her exact words were, somebody out there needs you. Somebody out there needs your story. Somebody out there needs to experience you. Somebody needs to hear from you. Ultimately, I wouldn't have a story to tell and I wouldn't have anything to share with others if I hadn't gone through some sort of trial. If I hadn't tried something and failed at some point and eventually succeeded, now I have a story to share. Now I can tell you how to get there. Sometimes you're not going through these things for you. Sometimes somebody else needs you on the back end of that. And that just brings me back to my point. It is okay to be seen trying. It is okay to be seen trying to do your best. It is okay to be seen not driving your dream car. It is okay to be seen still living with your parents. It is okay to be seen not making the amount of money that you want to make. It is okay to be seen posting your music and not going viral, posting your content and not going viral. It is okay to be seen just making an effort to being the person that you want to be. Along the way of you going through these trials and kind of learning and navigating life, you are going to come across people that are going to share their judgment. Whether it's through social media, whether it's in person, people are going to judge you. They're going to judge your story. Some people are not always going to have the nicest things to say to you. When it comes to judgment, you're either going to let it make you or it's going to break you. It's so important that when you're going through these phases, you need to surround yourself with people that genuinely love you and that remind you that it is okay to be seen working your hardest at something, even if it is not happening in the time frame that you want it, even if your blessing is not showing up the way you envisioned it and the way you asked God for it. It is so important for you to know that it is okay to be seen trying and making an effort towards the things that you want in life and towards the person that you want to be. You need to be around people that affirm that and that constantly instill in you that they love you for who you are now. They love you for the person that you are now, for what you bring to the table now. It's so important to pay attention to the people that actually embrace you for what you have now, for who you are now. Understanding that you are the person that knows what it takes to get to where you want to be. You ultimately are going to try a million different ways to achieve your goal, but only you know how it's going to be achieved. Once you figure out the method, once you got it down packed, now you have the recipe, and let the judgment just roll off of you, because ultimately it's all going to change once you get to where you want to be. You need to accept yourself when you're undergoing this criticism. You need to just embrace the person that you are. Yeah, I did not have the best upbringing. Yeah, I'm not as famous as this person. Yes, my artwork and my creativity does not get noticed as much as this person, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there. I'm putting in all of my effort, all of my skill, all of my mind and heart into my craft, and I'm going to get there. Knowing that and empowering yourself and accepting yourself is so liberating and freeing. Remember that in order for others to embrace and accept you, you have to first embrace and accept yourself. Like I said earlier in this episode, it is so easy to get sucked into social media. That is truly the only outlet that we have that really, really allows you to compare yourself to other people. You're constantly watching other people's lives. You're constantly seeing what other people are doing. You're constantly seeing the things they have, the people they're surrounded by, how many people know them. It's so easy to get sucked into that and to completely lose sight of everything you have going on, all of the things you've achieved, all the things you've overcome. It's so easy to start comparing and contrasting your life to other people. You can easily lose yourself. You can easily lose focus. You can easily drop the ball. You can easily take something for granted and it be snatched from you. You should learn how to foster your mindset on your individual growth. When it comes to combating comparison, you have to just constantly remind yourself your story is going to look different from other people's. It is okay to be normal, and it is okay to be seen trying your best. It is okay to be seen trying to get to where you want to go. We don't value the process of getting somewhere. We don't value the journey enough anymore. It's all about results. Everything is so result driven. At the end of the day, I want to be in this. At the end of the day, I want to do that. At the end of the day, I want to live in this house, drive this car, have this much notoriety. I want to be known by this many people, attend this many celebrity events. And we're not paying enough attention to how we get to those places. The people that we meet, the things that we encounter, the amount of trial and tribulation, perseverance, and endurance that it takes to get to these places, that's what needs to be highlighted. That is what's going to make people gravitate towards you. That is what's going to create your testimony. That is what's going to be able to be celebrated at the back end of this. If you're not paying attention to the journey and how you get there, how can you truly celebrate your achievement if you don't pay attention to all of the hard work, dedication, and trials that you put in to get there? Make sure you are focusing on your individual growth. Keep your idea of success in your mind. Don't allow the internet to seep in and tell you that what you're doing is wrong. It is okay to be normal. It's okay to live a regular life. I hope that you guys are listening to this pod and truly realizing the impact that social media has on us and how hard it's made us to kind of just thrive and being these normal people in regular spaces. It's okay to be seen putting in work. It's okay to be seen doing your best and not getting to where you want to be instantly. When it comes to achieving success on your journey, every single detail counts. Every amount of work that you put in counts. I want to be able to relate to you guys. I want you guys to know that it is okay to just be the person that you are. The people that love you are here to stay. Thank you so much for listening. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you for all of your support and believing in my vision. Pain to Champagne Pod. It's a wrap.